The vast majority of 2D platformers that Ratalaika Games port from PC to console are serviceable, cookie-cutter-esque 2D pixel art retro platformers. They're inoffensive, they usually work quite well and offer up a couple of hours of very streamlined entertainment. You kind of know what you're getting into once you've bought a few of these. They rarely innovate. And whilst I don't usually review all of these, I wanted to select one specifically called Chefy-Chef because it does something with its level design that I think is slightly different to most of the Ratalaika games that get ported over. And I can't quite decide if I like it or hate it. And the reason why is because what it does is it almost mini Metroidvanias each level, because you lose all of your abilities every single level and you have to go and find them again in order to complete them. Every level in Chefy-Chef is a 2D pixel art platform adventure, either going across a jungle or an ice environment. There's 3 different worlds for you to discover. The idea behind this is that you need to find the different ingredients to make your meal. The ingredients are wild, they don't really make a true meal, and it all feels a bit odd, and I feel like Chefy-Chef is going out of his way to get some food poisoning. But the idea is that you need to go and find the different ingredients and then get back to the refrigerator to leave the level. In order to do this though, you usually have to collect a couple of different tools for your chef along the way. The knife enables you to throw things and that can injure enemies, but it can also hit switches, for example. The frying pan allows you to lob the frying pan and teleport to certain areas, which means you can get further than your jump and double jump allows. And then there's a hammer, which acts as a springboard basically for you to leap up vertically and escape a particularly large cliff edge. Now, the levels are designed so that you're kind of locked into having to explore them and work out where you can go and where you can't go. They take place over multiple screens like little mini tiny mazes, but they're structured in a way that feels like tiny 3-minute Metroidvania games, because quite often you can't progress until you've collected the first one of those 3 instruments that then allows you to get the second and then the third, and you'll pick up the ingredients along the way. And I found this quite interesting for the first few levels, and then I started to get quite annoyed because it just felt like you were being constantly regressed back into your original form again every couple of minutes. And what it then meant is that as you progress through Chefy-Chef's levels, it can't innovate nearly as quickly and drop in other mechanics to the game over the course of time very well, because you're always having to rebuild back up to Chefy-Chef's full quota of armory before he can then actually go and do something else. And what it does is make the game feel quite uneven, because it's not until the final third of the game where you start to get some other mechanics drop in that you feel like could have been introduced and explored much more deeper earlier on in the game, but you've suffered the first 90 minutes to 2 hours just regaining the same 3 skills over and over and over again. And so it's a lesson for me of sometimes the familiar designs of a 2D platformer can be perfectly fine and left well alone, where it just introduces a new mechanic or a new thing to think about regularly at regular intervals, so that you don't have to feel like you're constantly regressing and rebuilding, regressing and rebuilding. Metroidvanias work for a reason. They don't keep taking away your things. You build yourself up again so that you become more powerful over time. And I think that's a lesson that Chefy-Chef could well have learned perhaps earlier on in its gameplay loop, so that it could go off and be a little bit more interesting over the course of time. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.